So hi, I'm Kenna. Thank you for joining me to practice some yoga today. We're going to be doing a short practice that can be done from a variety of locations. I'm going to be doing it seated in a chair today, but you could do this at your desk, at your office. If you're flying in an airplane, you could definitely try it out there. Just make sure it's okay with your neighbor. And the whole point of this practice today is just going to be to try to create some space through the back body. So just from day-to-day life, for a lot of us, we tend to have a lot of tension that builds up through the back body because of all of our forward-oriented activities. So, you know, driving a car, working at a desk, chasing around kids, picking things up, working out at a gym, lifting weights, playing a sport. All of those activities tend to be super forward oriented, and we tend to get a lot of forward flexion in the spine, which can create a lot of muscle tension and potentially even pain. So this practice is meant to help with those issues if you're experiencing them. So let's get started. You may choose to, for one of the postures, have a pillow ready, and it's just nothing special. It's not a yoga bolster or anything like that. It's just your standard queen size pillow. So if you have one of those that you'd like to try out for this practice, you can keep it close, but we don't need it yet. All right. So to start with, we're going to be seated for this practice. So wherever you're sitting down, being, on your couch, your office chair, I'm sitting on a regular kitchen chair here. We want to make sure that we're optimally aligned so that we're not creating more issues or worsening a situation potentially. So before we move into our practice, what I'd like you to do is just take a look down at your feet. Okay, so now for most of us, because everyone, doesn't matter, how much yoga you practice or how often you go to the chiropractor or how much, self-care you practice, will have some type of imbalance from side to side in the body. So for most people, one foot will tend to rotate out to the side. Perhaps you'll see the knee coming out to one side on that foot, or maybe if you're tight through the hips, you tend to rotate more internally, the knee might knock in and the foot might turn in. And that's totally natural, and it's nothing to feel bad about or beat yourself up about, but we want to be conscious of this before we move into our yoga practice, and over time come to find a more balanced alignment. So what I'd like you to do is just take a look down at your feet, and from wherever they are, just move them so that the knife edges, the pinky toe edges of the feet are parallel to one another, and that the big toes are roughly even. And I say roughly because they might not ever be perfectly in line with each other. That's totally fine. All right, and I also would like them for this practice to be about hip width apart. So most people tend to think that their hips are this wide, and that is not the case. For most people, inner hip width apart is about the distance of you stacking your fists on end to end, okay? So that distance is a good guesstimate of what inner hip width apart looks like for most people. So I can see, yeah, I'm about inner hip width. Now that being said, if you are having an acute episode right now of lower back pain, feel free to take the feet wider than hip width to create that space through the lower back and through the pelvis, but still definitely making sure that the feet are parallel to one another and that the big toes are in line. Okay. If it's still feeling uncomfortable and it's feeling like a lot of work for you to sit with your feet on the ground in that position, what you can do is you can elevate the feet on something. So think like a big, thick book. You could use, a weft of office paper, anything firm and steady that you have lying around the house, you can prop your feet up on for this practice. Okay, so once we have our feet aligned here, we're going to root down through the big toe mounds. Okay, root down evenly through both the left and the right feet. Grow nice and tall through the spine, and relax the shoulders down and away from the ears. Okay, that's our starting posture, and this is our perfectly aligned seated position that will be like our home base in between postures in this sequence. Okay, so now to start with, we're going to go through a little bit of an evaluation here, in which we're going to fold forward into a seated half forward fold to just kind of get an idea where you might be holding tension in the back body. So when we go to move forward, you might feel that you feel this a lot in the back of the neck, through, between the shoulder blades. You might feel it more in the mid back, or perhaps even you might feel it kind of tugging in the lower back. And that'll just give you an idea of where you really need to focus your energy and where you really need to create space in this practice. And you can kind of just be a little bit more aware of that specific area when we get to it. Okay. So for this one, you can take that pillow that we have handy, and what I want you to do is fold it up, okay, so that's half the length that it would usually be. Right? And this is totally optional. And I would say that if you do have severe back pain, particularly lower back pain, that I would definitely recommend the pillow for you. It's going to make things a lot more comfortable. All right. From there, you're going to push the pillow down so that the top of the pillow is lining up kind of with your belly button. Okay. And then from there, I want you to really snuggle it in towards your hip bones, so it's nice and tight to the body, right? So this is our starting position. From here, you're gonna hinge forward at the hips, okay, and just come into a nice gentle forward fold. So you can let the arms hang if that feels good, or you can grab opposite elbow with opposite palm. But I really want the head, neck, and shoulders to be super relaxed here. So just really let the noggin hang, okay? You can sway from side to side. Okay, maybe nod your head yes, shake it no. Just doing whatever feels good. And notice here, again, where you're starting to feel that tension. So maybe between the shoulders, like I mentioned. Maybe you're just feeling a general tightness through the back body. And you're feeling this maybe even in the hamstrings. Just noticing here. From here, we're going to come into a little bit of movement, so you can let the arms hang if they're not already. And all I want you to do is on an inhale, lift and lengthen, shine that sternum bone forward just halfway, so we're coming into a half lift. Okay, this is our half seated forward fold. And then exhale, round forward, sink back into the fold. Just starting to warm up the spine a little bit with some dynamic movement. Inhale, lift and lengthen, halfway, and exhale, fold forward. One last time, inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, fold forward. Okay, let the head, neck, and shoulders hang. Okay, inhale. Start to come all the way up, back to seated. You can put your hands on the pillow for support, just to make sure you're not torquing the lower back. Okay, and you can take your pillow off to the side. Okay, so now that we've kind of checked things out, you've noticed where you're carrying some extra tension, or you're feeling some pain through the back body. We can kind of focus our attention and really become aware of sending the breath to those places. And I know that can be kind of an odd concept, but I want you to imagine as we go through this practice, as you inhale, imagine those places becoming more relaxed and creating more space through those areas. And on your exhalations, letting go of that tension that's being held there. So the first area that we're going to work to open up a little bit and create some more space is through the upper back, and kind of like that sticky spot that tends to feel super tight in a lot of us, kind of right between the shoulder blades. A lot of us tend to feel that pull there, that we get like a huge knot in that area. So this is meant to kind of dynamically open up through that area. Okay, we're going to kind of systematically work our way down the back body here. So we're starting at the top and we'll move down. Okay, so we can start with your palms on your thighs here, just resting gently. Okay, again, root down evenly through the sitting bones. So think about taking your sitting bones down into wherever you're sitting and creating lots of space between them. Okay, lengthen up through the crown of the head, but relax the shoulders down and away from the ears. Okay. From here, we're going to inhale the palms up, so the palms are facing away from you. Okay, so this will be our cactus arms. Okay, this is pose number 1. And from here, you're just going to shine that sternum bone up. So thinking about taking the sternum bone all the way up towards the ceiling, wherever you're sitting. Okay. Just breathe here, coming into a nice gentle back bend. Okay. And then exhale, come back to center. And what we're going to do is cross the right arm under the left and cross opposite palm to shoulder here. Okay. So you might already feel that kind of pull and that a little bit of tugging through that area between the shoulder blades. If that's enough, stay here. All right, if you need a little bit more, you can round to the spine, take the chin to the chest, and you'll feel a little bit more of a pull. Okay, we'll inhale, big breath in through the nose, and come back to our cactus arms. We're going to flow through it a few more times. So exhale, this time we're going to take the left arm under the right and cross opposite palm to shoulder. Round through into our eagle arm stretch. Inhale, come back to cactus arms. Really think about broadening through the collarbones here, creating lots of space through the collarbones and taking the bottom tips of the shoulder blades closer to one another. Okay. Exhale, right arm under left. Inhale, back to cactus arms last time. And exhale, left arm under right, opposite palm to shoulder, round through the spine. Inhale, back to cactus arms, and exhale, palms resting on the thighs. Okay, so hopefully there you can start to feel how that movement of rounding forward, coming into that nice gentle back bend starts to just work really gently to open up that area through the upper back and the shoulders. Okay, we're going to move into a stretch more for the side body to kind of release some muscular tension that can build up through our day-to-day activities. So I'm going to turn so that you guys can see what I'm doing. You're going to stay seated, nice and tall, sitting in your home base position that we went over at the start of the video. Okay, but I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is put your hands on your hips here and just walk your fingers in until you find your belly button. Okay, so for most people, this will generally be the height of the top of your pelvis, the top of your hip bones. Okay, from your belly button, I'd like you to walk your thumbs back towards your spine here until your fingers are cupping the sides of your body, kind of like a C shape here. Okay, and what it's going to look like at the end is your fingers will be facing forward towards the belly button, and the thumbs are going to be resting on either side of the spine here, and I definitely want it to be resting on muscle. We don't want to be pressing on the spine, so we don't want to be pressing bone on bone. We want to definitely be in that fleshy area. So the muscle that we're working with in this posture is called your QL, and that works to laterally flex the spine, so bending over from side to side. And a lot of us tend to be super tight through this muscle, and it can be the cause of a lot of muscular tension in the back. Okay, so we're going to do a little self-massage technique and a little bit of a stretch here to try and release some of that tension. Okay, and again, I'm standing so that you guys can see what I'm doing, but you're still going to be seated in your chair, in your nice seated posture. Okay, so now that we've landmarked and you found that spot, what I'd like you to do is start to just apply some gentle pressure with your thumbs, making small circles. And your QL at this point might start talking to you if it's a little tight. And I'm using that as a nice way of saying it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. This muscle tends to be overworked in a lot of us, which can make it tight and also sore. So just be gentle and really listen to your body here. Okay, you can start to be a little bit more firm with the thumbs. Okay, and again, I'm using this fleshy part of my thumb, so I'm using the pad of my thumb and not the tip, where you shouldn't feel like your fingernails are digging into you. Okay. Now we're going to move into a little bit of a stretch. Okay, so you can just relax the thumbs and keep a gentle pressure, but stop making those circular motions. Okay, and again, you're still seated in your chair. You're going to inhale, grow tall through the spine, hug the elbows back towards one another. Okay, and then exhale, slowly side bend over to the right. Okay, you can keep your gaze down at the floor for this. Feel that stretch through the left side. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale, coming over to the left. Inhale, back to center. We'll go one more time to each side. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, over to the left. Inhale, back to center, and exhale and release the palms. You might want to shake out the hands if the thumbs are a little tired from all that counter pressure there. All right, and we're ready to move on to our next posture. So from here, we're going to start to work for a little bit of release in the lower back and start working with the muscles of the hips. So for a lot of us, the hips tend to be super tight. They're a muscle group where energetically a lot of our pent-up emotions, frustration, fear, anxiety, that kind of thing, all tend to get stored in the hips, which can result in a lot of muscular tension. All right, so this one is called seated thread the needle. Okay, so you might have done this one previously, perhaps lying on your back. I really like this option because it can be done anywhere at any time that you start to feel that low back start to get achy. You may want to be close to a wall for this one. Move yourself forward so that you're sitting more towards the front edge of the chair that you're sitting in. Okay, so whatever seat you're working with. And we're looking to be about 1 arm's distance from the wall here. Okay? So, to move into this one, all we're going to do is we're going to inhale, start to lift the right leg, and exhale, cross that right ankle over top of the left quad. So for a lot of us, this will be enough opening and enough stretch. If you're super tight through the hips, just stay right here. Okay? A good indication that this is enough for you and that you don't need to move any further is if your knee is up super close towards your abdomen. That means that the hips are pretty tight and that you can just sit in this variation here for a few breaths and again, come back to that full deep inhalation through the nose, exhalation through the nose, and imagine breathing more space into that area. You can gently use your right palm to press on the top of that right thigh just to encourage the knee down a little bit further away, okay? But you definitely don't want to hurt yourself here, so listen to your body and what it's telling you. All right? So if the knee is pretty far away from the abdomen here and you're feeling some sensation, but you could go a little bit further, what you're going to do is place your hands on the wall in front of you. Okay? So your hands on the wall are going to be about eyeball height, all right, just as a landmark. And then from there, you're going to start to hinge forward, and the elbows can bend. Perhaps the forearms, if you're super flexible, might even rest on the wall, but not necessarily. Now, if you still need a little bit more, and you'd like to bring the stretch a little bit more into the upper body, so the front of the shoulders and through the chest, you can start to walk your hands up the wall. And because the hips are such a big muscle group and there's so many different muscles and things coming together here, we want to hold these postures a little bit longer to just give them time to open up slowly. Okay. One more breath here. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Okay. You can slowly start to walk your hands down the wall if they're on the wall. Okay. Coming back to seated. And on an exhalation, uncross the right ankle from on top of the left thigh and place the foot back on the floor. Okay. And we'll repeat again on the left side. So on an inhale, this time lifting the left foot off the ground. Exhale, you're going to cross the left ankle across the top of the left thigh. So we want to avoid the ankle being right over top of the knee here. We don't want any excess pressure being put on the knee joint. Alright. And so you might notice when you change sides that one hip is quite a bit tighter than the other. I know my left hip is a lot tighter than my right, so I can tell that my knee is popping up quite a bit more in this side than in the other one. Okay. So again, you might choose to just stay here, gently encouraging the thigh to rotate externally away from the abdomen here. Okay. Or if you're feeling like you have the space to move ahead, you can slowly start to plant the hands on the wall, okay, eyeball height, and then from there, melting forward on an exhalation. Maybe forearms touch the wall. Maybe moving a little further and walking the hands up the wall to get into the front body a little bit more. Breathing here. And close your eyes if that feels natural to you. If it doesn't, then just taking the gaze down towards the floor. Just slow, deep breaths here. Thinking about filling the lungs all the way up to the very top on the inhalation. And on the exhalation, emptying all the way out. Again, imagine yourself creating more space through this left hip as you inhale. Feel that sense of expansiveness. And as you exhale, just feel some release there, some letting go. Inhale, start to walk your hands down the wall. Start to come back to center here, and exhale, release the left ankle from the top of the right thigh. Okay, it might feel good here to kind of take the knees from side to side, just to kind of release any tension that might have built up from that. And now from here, we're done with the wall, so if you'd like to move your chair away from it, you can, or you can stay right where you are. I'm going to move again so you can have a better view of what we're going to finish our practice up with. So moving into what I like to think of as the dessert portion of the practice, we're going to come into a nice self-massage. This is so great to be able to do for yourself. Massage and just that gentle healing touch is so awesome for releasing tension, stress, anxiety, all of those things that tend to build up throughout our daily lives. And this is really nice to be able to do for yourself anywhere, anytime you have a few extra moments. Again, coming back to our nice and tall seated position, our home base. Okay, take a quick look down at the feet, especially since we lifted them off the ground to come into our hip opener. Okay, when we place them back down, it's very tempting to revert back to that asymmetrical posture that we all tend to have, okay, whatever imbalance you're working with. So just double check that the feet are parallel to one another, big toes are roughly even, and that they're about hip width apart. Okay, so for this one, we're going to come into a technique that I first learned in a prenatal yoga class. This is one of my favorite self-massage techniques, and I think every human alive enjoys this, not just pregnant ladies, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. So you're going to make your hands into fists here with the thumbs on the outside, okay? And all we're going to do is just start to gently tap on the outsides of the hips, okay? Working our way down towards the knee. When you get to the knee, stop there. You definitely don't want to be tapping on your knees knees or jarring them in any way. So when you get to that area, just start to work your way up the top of the thighs, okay, and back to the hips, okay. And we'll just repeat this a couple of times, working your way down to the knees, coming back up the top of the thigh, and working your way back to the outer hips. So this just starts to kind of work out that muscular tension. If you've ever had like a shiatsu massage or anything like that, this is a really great technique that your massage therapist or some other Thai massage practitioner might have used at some point. Super awesome, it feels lovely. Okay. So we're just going to do this for as long as you like. If you're doing this at home, you can pause the video and keep on going here for as long as you have time for. Okay. Go one more time here. Down to the knees and back up. Okay. Now, just to kind of end in a really nice, calming, soothing way, what I'd like you to do is take your palms together in front of you and start to rub them together. Okay. And gradually just start rubbing them faster and faster and faster. We're trying to build some heat between the palms here just to warm them up, to create some healing, soothing warmth in our hands. When you feel like your palms are nice and warm, all you're going to do is, starting at the outer hips, just use your palms to make circular motions, using as much pressure as feels good for you, down the thighs, okay, towards the knees. When you get to the knees this time, you're going to use your hands to just cup the knee joint very gently here and just start to make circles around the knee. Okay. You can use your thumb to kind of just apply very gentle pressure to the medial area of the knee. Okay. You can use your pinky a little bit to get the outsides. Okay. Use your 3 fingers to kind of massage the front of the knee very gently, extremely gently here. Okay. And then we'll work our way back up here. We'll just go one more time from the tops of the thighs all the way down to the knee. You get to the knee, just gently cupping, making some circular motions, whatever feels good here. There's really nothing fancy. Okay. And then when you're done, slowly letting the hands drag across the thigh here and just come back to rest. Okay. Now, if you have time, I would love for you to continue and just do a quick seated meditation. If that's all you have time for today in your practice and you have to go off to work, back to work, something like that, you can definitely end here. But we're going to do a very short guided meditation right now. So come back to your seated position, and the hands can be in whatever posture is comfortable for them. It might be palms up, it might be palms down, it might be palms gently stacked one on top of the other. Okay. And I'd like you to just close your eyes. Okay. And really start to focus on the breath. Notice the quality of your inhalation and your exhalation. Focusing on the areas that you perhaps have observed some tension in at the beginning of our practice. And just taking note of how they feel now compared to how they felt when you started. Just gently breathing here, relaxing the feet, letting the toes uncurl. Feel the soles of the feet rooting down into the ground or whatever they're resting on. Feel the muscles in the calves relax. Feel the thighs soften. Relax through the hips. Feel that spaciousness through the pelvis. Feel that softening, that relaxing sensation traveling up the spine, up to the shoulders, and just feel them relax and soften down away from the ears. Lots of space between the shoulders and the ears. Relax your jaw. Relax your forehead. Relax that area, that space between the brows, your third eye. And relaxing your ears here. And just feeling your head almost become weightless. A sense of lightness. Just opening up. Just sitting here for a few moments. Staying here as long as you want to or have time for. Okay. Now we'll softly start to open the eyes, taking the gaze down towards the feet, just to come out of our meditation a little bit slowly. We'll inhale, bring the palms to the chest, thinking about taking the thumbs towards the sternum. Okay. And exhale, closing the practice with a bow. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this practice to create space through the back body today.